You too.
Thank you. I think I need a haircut.
That's great.
How often do you go to the barber?
I go, so I go about every week, not so much to get my hair cut, but actually I have them work on my beard. Actually, it's sort of a way that I sort of treat myself, to just kind of, I see this guy once a week and we kind of chit chat. It's sort of a nice routine.
Yeah, so it's like you change the mood.
That's absolutely right. There's something about getting a haircut, and then you just feel different and more confident.
It would be even better for you if your barber is a female.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's true, but I have trouble. I don't know about you, but I have trouble doing it myself. I feel like it helps to have a professional just know to try to get it even and everything.
Well, that also tells a lot about the person, that you like to look sharp. You are down for business, you don't fuck around.
Right.
But there is the laser. Have you heard about the laser?
No.
So basically, I don't want to take business from your barber, but if you do laser, they can take it totally away, this line.
Oh.
And down.
Really?
Yeah, so it's gonna be clean forever.
That's incredible.
And then if you want your, but laser is popular for women. For women.
Sure.
Because women don't like to shave, so they do laser and they are fresh all the time.
Yeah, that's true. So right. So maybe with my friends, the guys that I hang out with, nobody's ever mentioned that before. That sounds great.
So basically, laser, they will burn your not your skin. They will burn where the hair grows.
Right.
So you have to go maybe for your beard four times. Each time will cost you maybe $20, $30. I don't know the prices in New York. How much you pay for your beard?
Oh, not much. Where I go, it's just $10.
Me, I go to, I pay 15 for my hair and beard.
Nice.
Euros. You know that the dollar now is stronger than the euros. 20 years, the first time.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
For 20 years, the dollar never equal the euros. Now the dollar is even bigger than the euros.
Wow. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know too much about it. I know at some point, I think England separated from Europe, and so they have a whole different system.
Before talking about the UK, I wanted to mention that I receive my salary in dollar and I live in Europe. So basically, when the dollar is stronger, I'm getting more money. So the UK, they left the European Union, and even the pound is not doing well.
Right. I heard about that.
So it's, have you heard about trading?
Sure. Trading?
So trading, it's this. If you know that the dollar will be strong, you buy dollar.
Right.
Because if I buy dollar today, it equal, let's say 1-to-1 with euros. Tomorrow the dollar will be worth more. Like now, dollar worth around 1.2. If you have 100 euros, you get 120. So that 20 is what you make. And let's say if you have 1,000, you make 200. If you have 10,000, if you have 1,000, you make 200. Yeah. If you have 10,000, you make 2,000.
Right.
It's just
Right.
about knowing the market. Yeah, I actually have a friend. I have a friend. He's a good trader. I listen to him, and sometimes I lose, but it's okay. So we said we're gonna talk about fights. Where's the fight? What is this, Wesley?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I've loved boxing for years, and one thing I did want to mention, I don't know if you knew this, it's something that I read. It's a theory. I know that our connection is through comedy, but the term stand-up comedy, it's very possible that that term came from boxing. And why is because at one point, so I read this book called Comedians. It's about the history of stand-up comedy. Stand-up comedy mostly developed in the United States, although they say it might have come from Ireland, but in any case, it started about 100 years ago with vaudeville, and eventually a lot of comedy, the first comedy shows, a lot of the early, there was an era where almost all comedy was only in Las Vegas. That was around the time of Frank Sinatra, and it might have, maybe it was during the 50s, maybe 40s, maybe 30s. But in any case, those clubs that had comedy and that had music, the clubs were basically run by, I don't know another way to put it, gangsters, mobsters. It was the mafia. They basically, there was a time where they ran Las Vegas. They owned everything. And so what they always wanted, and they were very involved in boxing. Unfortunately, sometimes they would fix fights. There was a lot of gambling. They would tell a fighter, listen, I need you to go down in the 5th round. I need you to take a fall. And basically they always wanted what they called a stand-up fighter. They want a stand-up fighter. They want somebody that could take a punch, maybe be able to go all 15 rounds. And so eventually, first it was boxing. At first it was boxing. And then when the mob got into comedy and entertainment, they wanted a stand-up comic, basically somebody that they could put on the stage, and if they need you to go an hour, they need you to go 90 minutes. They want to almost like a boxer. They need somebody to stand up and not take a fall and be able to just go on stage and be able to, in a sense, take punches from the audience and not give up. And so it's just a theory. We don't know for sure, but it's a good possibility that stand-up comedy, that term, came from stand-up fighter from boxing. So there's a lot of parallels.
I love a theory that makes sense.
Right.
I don't love a theory that tells me someone comes from the sky down to, like, how did he even land? And they didn't even have airplanes or went up, or tell me something that makes sense. I love some crazy things sometimes, but not to believe in them, and because it become crazy. But you mentioned stand-up comedy. I would say it's it's an American thing. Although, yes, some people say it comes from Ireland or this, but I would say it's even in the UK, comedy is more famous. People like come like a clown, where really stand-up comedy grows, where someone comes like you or me, or it's not a clown. You don't wear anything. You are just a normal person. You talk and you are funny. So I would say this I always think, even until now, too many people in Europe don't know about stand-up comedy so much.
Right. It feels like in Europe, I think a big difference, I've been reading a little about this, that basically in Europe, that comics or comedians or performers, they have shows. They might have maybe a 1 hour show where you go
Yeah.
to the theater and they'll perform comedy for an hour. Whereas I feel like in the US, we have comedy specials and Netflix specials, but we have a big culture of the comedy clubs where a comic will go up for 15 minutes and 10 minutes, 5 minutes. And I feel like that's more in the US. Although there's some, I went to visit Ireland and they have comedy clubs, but it's not the same. Here in America, I feel like every city has a comedy club.
That's what I'm talking about. It's in real life. Even when you go every city, if you have a plans in America, most of the times, if you are in any time, you can make plan to go to a comedy club. But I wanted to say something, and I feel also the US is a good ground for comedy where everyone allowed to say whatever they want. I think this helps.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
We need to
That's
spice it
right.
up. We need to spice it up. So I was watching a fight today, and I actually wanted to show you.
All right.
So what's fascinating about this fight is I appreciate how strong these people are. Like they really they have the genetic. That's part of knowing who you are. These people, it's like they take too many punches, they can handle it. Me and you, we cannot handle it. There is no way I will dream to be a fighter because I know my jaw wasn't built to be a fighter. So I feel these people, they even have strong jaw, more bone density, more power to come from knockout.
I totally agree. I've thought about that too. I used to watch boxing on HBO here in America, and what
Yeah.
they would always talk about after a boxing match is that they would break down the statistics about how many punches they took. So,
Yeah.
and they'll break it down like in the course of a fight, the fighter took 50 punches to the head. He took 60 punches to the body. And I think about that too. I feel like after one punch, I could die. One punch. And they took like 100 at least.
Their tolerance, but also don't forget that we are humans, and all these fighters usually have trauma, and the brain start mixing things up. So however how strong you are, at the end it will get you.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Unless you are Floyd Mayweather, you know, he takes less hits and he makes money. That's a successful fighter for me. If you are a fighter, yes. Okay, sorry.
I totally agree. In fact, when I knew I was coming here, I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about or possibly bring up, but I thought about Floyd Mayweather, and he's not totally popular. He's very controversial, but for me, he's one of the best. He's one of my favorites.
Also, he's a businessman. Like he makes the fight with corner in corner peak. Like he fought no one from the UFC, none. He only fought corner. Why? Because there is money there. So he's a person who takes good opportunities. He's a good actor when he talks before the fight, after the fight. It's all together. That's why when you need to be really successful, because Floyd Mayweather, he will not pay me anything, but we still mention him because he really made something good and he make everything together. He's healthy, he makes money, he's someone to look up to with all the aspects.
Right. And so he ended his boxing career 50-0. He never lost. And when he fought Conor McGregor, I remember watching that fight. You're right. He didn't fight him in UFC. He fought him in boxing. And I believe I have a lot of respect for Conor McGregor. I'm sure that if Floyd fought Conor in UFC, Conor would have killed him. But in boxing, I think that Floyd, his hands are so fast that I really believe he could have knocked out Conor in 30 seconds. But because he wanted to make it, Floyd, like you said, Floyd is an actor. And I think that he wanted to make it entertaining and worth the $100 it cost to get it. So he dragged it out for 9 rounds. And then he knocked him out in the 9th round. But I think that he could have knocked him out much earlier.
They say that this is one of Floyd Mayweather games, that when you go full blast, try to knock someone out, you are more open. So he always scores point. And also, he had the fight that didn't win with Jack Paul, or I don't know his name.
Oh, yeah.
Logan
Paul. I think he fought Logan Paul in an exhibition match.
Yeah, so Logan Paul, he's like 20 years younger than him. I think 1 meter taller than him, but money. He makes money. He didn't get so much hit, draw. Let's watch these animals. This is not Mayweather. Maybe they are broke now and sick. How much these people take in this fight is maybe how much not even Floyd Mayweather took in all his career. And he makes so much more money than them. But I also appreciate the dog mentality, the war. And I also want to comment on one kick. We will pick one kick and make it, analyze it, and talk about it. But let's start watching. And I really have so much fun with you, Wesley. Thank you. You are so easy to talk to.
Likewise.
Okay, give me one.
Sure. So this is probably on YouTube.
No, I saved it from Facebook.
Oh, nice.
Can you see?
Yeah.
So let's see how they stare to each other.
Yeah.
And Joe Rogan, I love what he said. We have to spend 30 minutes watching them staring, see who.
Okay. I expect a clean fight. Obey my commands all times. Defend yourselves all times. Touch gloves. Go back. Let's do this.
Wow. Let's just stare down for a while.
Yeah, let's stretch that out for half an hour.
Seriously.
Let's see who cracks.
Guida.
I say it's a draw in the mean face contest.
And Sanchez.
Gentlemen, you ready? You ready? Let's go to war!
Oh my God!
Swinging!
Oh my God!
Unbelievable start!
Oh, Diego's all over! Blake Guida got rocked! He's going in for the takedown!
The knees!
Cool.
Sanchez!
Please!
Guida covering up! Mouthpiece. They'll wait for a little stop. But Diego might not give it to him.
God damn this ads. Wait. On Facebook.
Yeah, right.
Fuck, annoying.
But that was, I mean, that was only what, a minute of that fight, and it was so action packed. Oh, he's still going, Sanchez.
Duck under and go for the takedown, Joe. He's getting eaten up early. Sanchez really.
So basically, the fighter with the long hair, he's good at the ground fight.
Oh, I see.
Even they are saying he should go for the ground, but I don't know. Sometimes fighters just get confused. It's not His background is more wrestling, but the other fighter, his background is more standing. So it's not smart to stand with someone who he been standing all his life and you've been wrestling. That's why he's getting beaten up. He will try to take him down, but this is the problem. If you try to take him down and he's good and keeps the fight standing, it's like you are fucked.
Right, and I think another problem, at least in this fight, that guy Sanchez is awesome, and I just think that he was just way too fast. There was no opportunity to take him down, and you're right about those kicks. I was kind of looking for them and what you said before, and it's just that he was punching him, and then he would knee him a couple times, and those knees just came out of nowhere. I'm shocked that even in this 30 seconds that he was still standing, that Goita was still standing. That's incredible.
Crazy. He mixed it up. That's the good fighter, you know. He surprises you. He punches, knees. You always have to make the other fighter guessing. If he understands you, it's done. It's crazy. But if you are good wrestler, if you are so fast, you can time the punches and come down. But that's like, you know, Khabib.
Yeah.
When he fight corner went out, he didn't even put his hands up because corner wanted Khabib to punch him and stand up.
Right.
But Khabib is a better wrestler. So he beat him in the ground and was faster to bring him and dominate in the ground and control the fight in the ground.
Yeah, I was thinking about this before we started. I was thinking about the differences between boxing and UFC. And I think a big reason I like boxing is maybe I'm a simple person. There's only one thing to do. You stand and punch, and there's strategy of defense. But with UFC, I think the UFC fighters, the successful fighters, you have to be really smart, and because of the different styles, and to know when to do what and everything.
Crazy. The kick I told you about still didn't come yet.
Oh, all right, great.
But I also wanted to tell you that that's why the UFC was made, because they were saying like, who's stronger, a boxer or jiu-jitsu? Or they say, okay, bring them in the cage and let them smash each other.
Yeah, wasn't that how it started? That was the idea from the beginning, right? To see who is the ultimate fighter, right?
Okay, let's keep going.
Looking for the uppercut. What a flurry to start our main event. Again, the knee. Diego is all over Clay Guida with these punches. Guida with the takedown.
Oh, nice.
But the other fighter is good in the ground too.
It looks like it.
Here's an interesting point. Like Clay Guida's hair is going to make it a little easier for Diego Sanchez to control him in the guard. And one of the reasons is it's going to be harder for him to slip his head out of things if Diego can get a hold of the back of his neck with his legs.
He should shave.
A little more traction.
Ooh.
Guida looking to impose his will now. Guida keeping his elbow on the neck of Diego Sanchez. And Diego has a very solid jiu-jitsu game, but he's a top game guy. He wants to be on top, dominated. And Clay wants to keep him on the ground like this. This is Clay Guida's game. Stifling the jiu-jitsu, keeping the guy on his back. The kind of guy that's going to give Clay Guida problems is the kind of guy with a killer guard. A Shinya Aoki type of a guy.
Both men are bleeding, Joe. Blood coming out of the nose of Diego Sanchez.
Diego Sanchez using the rubber guard.
Nice.
Shakes him off. Clay Guida's on top of him.
And now
Keep
it's
him down.
pushing the pace.
Now, this is a time for Josh Rosenthal to give Clay Guida his mouthpiece back.
Wow, very nice call and a
a great job done by Rosenthal. You don't want to get
Oh, his mouth guard came out.
teeth or anything.
His mouthpiece.
Yeah, it came out. Must have.
The kick is coming, Wesley.
Yes. Wow.
Ah.
Clay Guida's bleeding real bad from his nose. That might be a broken nose, Mike. Sanchez came out dynamically. I'll tell you one thing, Sanchez looks much.
Oh.
Clay Guida's got a hell of a chin. Unbelievable drive for Guida. And the flying knee again.
So Wesley, the fight's still going 17 minutes, but I want to analyze how that kick went in. How did he kick him?
Well, one of my first instincts when I saw that one of the problems for, I think the fighter with the long hair, Guida, it might be, but so it looked like maybe his mouthpiece came out and then the ref had to take a timeout to get the mouthpiece. So on one hand, you could think that, oh, that's great. It gives Guida a little time to breathe and everything. But I think that was a problem because I think I wonder if he never had to take a break for the mouthpiece. I wonder if that kick might have never happened because he was fully engaged in the fight, and then they had that break, and that gave Sanchez maybe time to strategize. Like it pulled them way apart, and then I think Sanchez, he's very smart, and he probably knew the distance, and then he knew, okay, I got him. As soon as he comes in, I got him with the kick, and it was perfect.
It's amazing. Also, because for me, I watched it before slow, and how he kicked him, he timed his jab. So when the Guida jabbed him, it was perfect timing, because when you jab someone, the kick can go longer. So he timed the distance. He was on time. And also Guida right hand was down. That's why fighters, when the fight comes, they get stressed, they get tired, and their hand goes down. That's why when you are training, always make your body get used to it, your system. So let's see now. Do you see the jab?
Oh, so he never connected with it. He just went for it.
He went with jab and he timed him perfect. There is no better timing and distance than this because you are standing where the jab don't hit you, but the kick hits his head. And
and you're right. And you're right. His right hand isn't guarding his face.
Where is it? You're gonna see like his.
Oh,
You see the gloves, the right hand, like.
Yeah, it's down a little bit.
Didn't block.
Oh,
so we can even watch it again.
Nose, Mike.
He also like have broken nose. Look. Also, he tricked him now. Look, he gonna go with the jab and his right hand went down. Perfect distance to throw a kick. Look. Same time.
Right. He's going for the kick. Right.
But how many people would understand this when they watch the fight? How many people appreciate this? That I can't stop the sharing. We are
right. I mean,
That's
it's hard. It's hard when you're watching it live. It just happens so fast. But I actually think that was a great round, and that was only about 3 minutes into the fight, I think. But I really think that break where the ref had to take him to the trainer to get the mouthpiece, I think that gave Sanchez a few seconds to compose himself and plan. I don't know what was going through his mind, but I think he made that strategy of because that was, I think, his first move after the break.
Well, yes, but after that he tried again with some kicks, but I think that was the first kick in the fight. Right.
Because before that he was kneeing him. He was kneeing him in the jaw a little bit.
And then he went for, oh my God, that's crazy.
That's crazy. I wonder, I mean, it almost makes you wonder, a part of the fight too is the training camp. And I wonder if maybe, first of all, I give those guys credit. I mean, who am I to say that those guys deserve all the credit in the world? But I wonder if maybe Guida's camp didn't do their research or something, that maybe, or maybe Sanchez was just too fast.
Look, Wesley, this is the game fight what you are talking about. That's how the most successful fighters in the UFC is their trainers. How smart, what's your fight plan? Maybe you are weaker than the other fighter, but you have a better fight plan than him. You come up with new jab, you surprise him, you come up with something. So I would say, with all the respect, as you say, these fighters, because obviously they make it to the UFC, which is so hard for people, but they didn't really, I mean, they are not famous, they are not rich. It's, yeah, some people, it's sad.
Oh yeah. Again, it's, I feel like boxers, for the most part, and UFC fighters, it's a lot like stand-up comedy, that sure, there might be, in comedy, there might be a few people that make a ton of money, Bill Burr and Rogan, and there's a few people that make a lot of money, but like 90% are just fighting in obscurity, just like the boxers.
Also, this would go with singing, with everything.
Yes.
That's the problem of I don't know if I should call it a problem, but that's how humans run life. So in life, there are too many options. So, okay, they say that always there will be 5% of the 100% that have most of it.
Right.
Anything. You agree with me? 5% always will have, let's say we have 10 million. 5% of people maybe will have 9,500,000, and the other 95% will be fighting with the 500,000. That's how it runs. But humans, we made it different. We made like singing, comedy. So there are too many different exits. It's not just one exit. But again, with these different exits, unfortunately, there will be only 5% who will take the most of every exit. You know what I mean?
I do.
And who are these people? First of all, it's the people who took the right exit.
Right.
Number one, you cannot take the wrong exit and go and want to be fight with this 5%, because you can't. You need to find what you are genetically gifted with, what you are into. Even if you don't find it, try doing things. As we say, boxing, martial arts, being out, sports. Try to know who you are. That's the game we are in. Try to know who you are. Try to find your exit. That's the first step in your life. And it's sad that there are people, they still didn't figure that exit, which is maybe the reasons are ego, or maybe they didn't take some mushroom. I feel like mushroom helps. So finding the exit, and then it's a big game, which is you have to work hard and have preparation, and then preparation has to meet luck.
Right.
Yeah, but
right, absolutely. I mean, sometimes I've wondered that sometimes, that there's certain things that I love to write, and I love different things, and that's why I pursue the things that I do. But who knows? Maybe maybe I'm really gifted on violin, but I never tried it. So you never know. I think that's why the best families are the ones that where the parents they just expose their kids to a lot of different things to see what they might be gifted in. You might be the best bowler in the world. Who knows?
No, it really makes sense that it's always nice to take your kids to try things and give them the possibility of experiencing and finding who they are and what they like.
I love, and I at this point I don't have any kids, but I love boxing. My dad, he trained to be a boxer. My grandpa was actually an amateur boxer. But if I had kids, I do not know, as much as I love watching it, I don't know if I would ever let them do it. It'd be very difficult to put them on that path. Unless they really wanted to do it, unless I could see that maybe they're really gifted at this and they need to do it.
I don't, yes, there are people, as we said, they are gifted, but it's so dangerous, Beth, because you are gambling with your body. Like you get hit in the head or injured or car hits you. It's just crazy world we are living in.
There was a documentary recently about Muhammad Ali, who's the greatest.
Yeah.
And what shocked me was that towards the end of his life, he lived a pretty long life, but a lot of his life he had the effects of boxing. At the end of his life, I don't think he could talk anymore, and he had he had problems because he was hit so many times. But he was, when he was a young man in his 20s and 30s, he would do interviews, and he was kind of like Floyd Mayweather. He was he would just talk very well. And he was only in his early 40s where they had interviews with him. And it was a little bit sad. It was just, my heart was breaking a little bit because he had trouble talking and stuff. And it kind of makes sense because if he started when he was probably 15, maybe younger when he started, and you take 25, 30 years of punches, and it's like, how could anybody be possibly okay?
Yeah, it's so, for me, I honestly do boxing and or wrestling with the hobbyists, people that do it as a hobby.
Yeah.
So some people think that you should do hard sparring, but in order to get better, but I'm not ready to risk break my nose or in order to get ready for a fight. The reason I do it is, and also there is one wrestler or jiu-jitsu, I forget his name. He actually from the US and he won one championship, one championship, but only wrestling in the ground. And he said he only do it with people for hobby. He never train hard. But however, I think you need to train because they say when you are in argument with someone, if you know how to fight, it's not that you beat him. Mm-hmm. When you're having argument with someone, if you know how to fight, you are more confident. Your heart rate is lower. And the lower your heart rate, you can make better decisions.
Right.
But that's why it's nice to educate people before you teach them something or before you put a tool on them.
Right.
Like before you teach boxers, you should, or anyone, there should be a course with mushroom and then you do this for your heart. I'm gonna tell you a story. Do you have something to say on this or?
No, listening. Yeah, definitely. That.
So I used to train with savages
Yeah.
that, as you said, like they are genetically gifted. Like I swear to God, Wesley, I used to tell them like, it's crazy. Like you should be in the UFC. They are crazy, but there is no luck. That's why they say, or maybe they are also a little bit fucked up. And you're gonna hear the story and you will know. So I hang out with them at night, in the night life. And they are two. One of them, he was drunk and he grabbed a girl's ass.
Oh,
And they are not my friends anymore because
right,
of this. The problem is the girl slapped him.
right.
So he wanted to kill the girl.
Ah,
But you know, she's a girl. You know, sometimes it's better when you are a girl. Like when you are a dude, some people will just smash you, doesn't give a fuck. But there are more chances when you are a dude that other dude will start fighting you. But
right.
again, so the problem is that her boyfriend was there.
Oh no.
And he looks like a loser. I mean, his
Okay.
body physically.
Right.
It's like someone who never like eat proper food or even
Right.
so the guy start come in between his girl. Like if I was him, I would just leave it up to my girl. Like honestly. So this guy, he come in the middle and he don't even know how to put his hands up.
Who? The boyfriend?
The boyfriend, and
Yeah.
he get one punch, his jaw broke.
Oh man.
And the problem, they were big group, and they were this kind of guys who never eat proper food or anything, and they all get smashed. Like only my two friends.
You saw it? You were there?
Man, I felt like a coward because I didn't fight. Only my two friends did it.
You were just watching
But
the match.
I didn't even need to. It's crazy. And we left, and then we had problem with the police because some people knows me and they say I know that guys, and then I was like, I don't know them. I didn't go out with them. Fuck this guys. I didn't fight. Thanks God I didn't fight. That's why sometimes it's better to be nice or be coward, or I don't know. That's the wrong word.
Of course.
It's
Of
the wrong
course.
word.
And in fact, I know that the great thing about boxing and the UFC and fighting is that it takes a lot of people, like even the people that we saw in the video. These are people that not everybody, but maybe in real life they would get into bar fights and trouble with the law, and it puts them in a place where they can fight and exercise, and it's legal, and probably when you're on that path of being a professional fighter, you don't have time to do that kind of stuff that you saw.
Yeah, it's definitely, yeah, it takes all that energy and aggression, and it also become a living. You can support your family. It's wild. But you know, also what I learned from this is that life is not like if you go to the club with your girl and you face someone like this, someone who trains and he is rude, someone who is bigger than you.
Yeah.
What the fuck do you do? Do you get laid that night, or do you just say to your girlfriend, listen, I'm gonna masturbate, I got it, I don't wanna be...
See, yeah, you know, I think about this a lot. I mean, it's obviously it's so wonderful to have a partner or a girlfriend who's beautiful, but if you do, these situations might come up, and And I give credit to that guy that he did his best to try to
Oh,
defend her, but
he broke his go. I mean, but you know, that's why I believe, that's why I'm also trying to do comedy, because I think that the world is corrupt. Everywhere is corrupt. And you have to be in a place where it allows you to be in different hierarchy of and to be between people. So for me, that's why I feel fortunate, and that's why comedy means a lot to me. I feel that comedians are my tribe and the people who I wanna support my back with. And Joe Rogan, it's a
Sure.
dream for me to be in his tribe, or to be in that connection. And I feel that comedy could be the way for me. That's why I'm building all my dreams. So then, you know that Joe Rogan, he hires around more than like 30 Navy SEALs, security works. You know Jacko Willing.
oh, what's his name?
Jacko.
Oh, Jacko. Yeah, yes.
Like
Yeah.
he's the scary. He helps. He say to Joe Rogan, "This is the scariest motherfuckers in Iraq."
Yeah, well, Jocko, he's a great podcast guest. I love listening to him. I tried to listen to his podcast. It's too intense. It's very intense.
Yeah, it's too.
Very,
But
yeah.
that's what I meant. That you should. What do you think about this? That you should try to censor. Where should you be in a place where it's more corrupt, where the people around you you will be more related to them, whereas it's with art or with work, or because that's how humans live, or suicide. How do you also, where I come from in Yemen, it's like this tribal guns. It's more clear, you can see it.
Right. I mean, that's the great thing about life, is that we could choose, in a sense, we could choose who we want our tribe to be. And I think that Joe Rogan does set that example, where he often talks about comedians as being a sort of brotherhood, or
Tribe.
he does a tribe. He does what he does well to try to take care of people that are coming up and everything. It's a great arena. I mean, it's a lot safer than boxing.
Yeah. And yeah, even if you are a boxer, you can also, I mean, you need strong people around you, and you need to have some power and connection in order to in order not to feel oppressed by anyone, because there are too many bullies.
That's true. Yes. That's true. And there might be bullies in every single arena. And yeah, and I guess like any tribe, I guess under this big tent of comedians, that I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but for me, I sort of stay away from the bullies, and I want to be around people that are supportive of each other and everything. And but one thing I wanted to mention about comedy, this sounds like it's a mushroom experience, but it wasn't. But basically, so in San Francisco, there is one of the big comedy clubs. It's a place called The Punchline. That's one of their famous comedy clubs. And it was just before the pandemic. I went and I saw a comedian named Emo Phillips was the headliner. And when I was trying to find it, and I found The Punchline, and basically there's a sign, and it says San Francisco Punchline, and it says the words punchline, and it had a line over the words punchline, and then at the end of the line there was a boxing glove. And it made me think that, oh yeah, it's a punchline is kind of like it's another parallel to boxing. It's when you have a good punchline, and you knock out the audience with laughter. But but there's a lot of parallels to that's another parallel. The punchline is, and even in boxing, we talk about setting up the punch where setting up the punch where I might maybe I'll go for the jab, and then as I'm going for the jab, I'll go with the hook. I set up the punch and then I do the punch. So it's kind of similar to the setup punchline and everything. And you know, another similarity. So where I'm at, I know that I've joked about that I used to be a professional boxer, but what I've really done is I've trained, like I've taken lessons and everything. And I don't know if you'll agree, but see, I think a lot of people think that they could box because it looks so easy. It's so simple. It looks so easy. And a reason it looks easy is because every round is 3 minutes. 3 minutes is nothing. We've been talking for about an hour and it flew by like that. But in the ring, it's forever. Like we watched that video, that was only about 4 minutes of fighting, but I'm sure that they felt like, it feels like a lifetime. And I think it's similar to when we have our mics, when we have our shows, like when I have an open mic, and even though it's very supportive, if I feel like I'm bombing, it's like, it's only like 3 minutes, 4 minutes, but it's almost like a boxing round. It feels like this is taking forever. And sometimes I just like, I stop it. I try, I'll do 2 minutes. I'll try to get a laugh. And then I'm like, oh, thank you very much. I'm going to give time back to the room. You can't do that in boxing. You have to stay for the whole round, or UFC for the 5 minute round. But yeah, it's only 5 minutes, but that must feel like forever.
Yeah, it's crazy. And also, like with comedy, as you said, you can say, I give my time, bye. But with boxing, you are stuck with this guy inside.
That's right.
And then if you say to the ref, I give my time back, no, you lost all your fans.
Oh yeah, you can't do that. Right.
In comedy,
Right.
people gonna be like, okay, this comedian, he will come next time. Hopefully he gonna get better. But if you are a fighter and you say, I give up my time.
You can't do that.
You know,
I mean, it's been done before. Boxers have given up, but they're looked at as they've lost so much respect. You're right. They lose all their fans.
The way how you lose the fight, it's how did you lose the fight by knockout? Did you get hit in the head like that fighter and come back? Even that's how fighters keeps their. Do you know Dana Contender Series?
Sure, I've heard of it.
It's fascinating because he make the best fighters sign, and then he make two fighters fight each other.
Wow.
So the best of the best sign, and then the best of the best, two of them fight, and the one who won, he may get contract to the UFC. But how did he win? So for example, there were fighter who won, but he was watching the time all the game and he wasn't fighting like. So Dana White wants fighters to show him talent on that fighter, come and it's also fascinating how they give their stories. Like, I was broke, this is my chance, I'm gonna kill this guy. Yeah, it's crazy.
So you might have watched more UFC than me, but one thing I noticed about boxing is that it's a little tricky. Sometimes you can't tell who's the better fighter. Sometimes I used to judge, I'd look at their bodies, and sometimes the ones with the most muscles and they're jacked and they're ripped, a lot of times they're not the ones that win. Sometimes the ones that look like, obviously they're in good shape, but the ones with maybe it doesn't look like they have any muscle tone, the ones that kind of look like a swimmer's body, a lot of times they're the better fighters, it seems like.
Okay, so first of all, some fighters, they do so much boxing, so much training, that they don't even focus on going to the gym. Because in order to build definitions and to build like that muscular, you need to go to the lifting, you need to do weightlifting in order
Right.
to grow muscle. You need to take even some supplements like steroid, or I don't know. But that's an advantage with fighting. If you are a fighter who always train how to fight, and then someone who goes to the gym and fight with you, you may beat him in this fight because you do more fighting than he does. But maybe if the fight was fight and gym, maybe the muscular guy would win. Does it make sense or no?
Yeah.
The,
Yeah.
the second thing, it also depends. If you are muscular guy, what are you made of? How much training do you train this muscle? Because if you have muscles and you are this muscles needs more oxygen. So if you are not training your muscle, you need to lift your shoulder all the fight. The muscles gas out, they need more oxygen. So it depends how much oxygen you put. Are they real muscle, or are you taking some crazy supplements? So there are too many aspects.
Right. Right. But speaking of that, I remember that was one of the biggest surprises when I took boxing lessons and everything. Just not even moving your fists, but just holding your arms up for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Really tiring. Just holding them up. I now understand, because when I would practice, then the coach would keep saying, lift up your hands, lift up your hands. He would have to constantly remind us, because in my mind, yes, I'm sure that's easy. That's no problem. Of course, I'm going to protect my head at all times, but it gets so tiring. All you want to do is put your arms down. And so I understand it. Like the fight we just saw, he just for a split second, he had his right hand down, and then he got kicked in the face.
That's also training. How much training do you put? How much focus do you put?
Yes, it's the training. Because right, it's training, because it must be muscle memory. You train so much so that when you get to the fight, you don't even think about it. You're not thinking at all. You're just
It was a mistake, of course. Like when he kicked him, where was your hand? Why were you there? Why you didn't go down? It's all trained. But you know how when you are fighting someone, and usually that's how fighters take rest with their shoulders. So I come out of the distance where you can hit me, and I put my hands down. But
yeah. Yes.
some fighters are very smart, that when they sees you putting your hand down and coming out of this distance, they pressure you. They don't even give you that chance.
So if you make distance, then you put your arms down, and then they'll come at you and pressure you.
That's the like, you know, John Jones.
Yeah.
The best thing about him is that he understands the psychology of the other fighter. He knows when you are tired. He knows when you will throw kick. It's an opportunity when you are taking distance away to put your arm down to pressure you.
Right. Yeah, there's so many. It's such a simple sport, but UFC and boxing, it's so simple, but it's a little bit complicated. There's all these little things, like even because one thing I thought about, because at a certain point I accepted, like I love boxing. That's not unless God tells me differently, that's not my destiny to be a boxer. But I thought about different ways to try to be in the sport. I actually thought about maybe trying to become a judge someday. And that's one of the things in boxing they look at. It's called ring generalship. And so in the fight, so Sanchez had it. Ring generalship shows that basically you're in control. And so in the fight we saw, Sanchez was basically in the middle of the ring, he was kind of controlling everything. And when Guda was kind of on the outside, dancing around him. And so as a judge, I would give more points to Sanchez because he was more of the general. He was more of the leader in the fight.
Of course, if nobody knocks the other one out and they win the whole rounds, the winner is the one who pressured more and was controlling the center, as you said.
Right. So it's so many things to think about. It's great. It's great. It never gets old. It always feels fresh and new. I think it's something that we're always gonna. I think it's gonna survive everything. If football and baseball in America, if everything goes away, I think we'll always have fighting.
Number one, it evolves. This also that's why there is no best fighter ever, because fighters before didn't learn these techniques now. That's also one crazy thing about fighting, that every generation, and also it's in our DNA as humans. We love it. We love to watch. It's from our grandparents. We love seeing two people. I love to eat and see two people smashing each other. If they wanna do it for the money, they train. People likes to watch it. Like, it's just, some people are like too close with they like something because they don't like fighting. They think it's wrong. Or I think the most decriminalized is porn as a job, and then maybe fighting. Would you agree? Because even before 10 years or this, how do you feel? Porn and fighting are decriminalized jobs, and porn is more.
Oh, that's a great question. But wait, what? But boxing's legal, or well, they're both legal.
I mean, some people, they are like, "Oh, are you a fan of the UFC? What the like to see?"
Right. Oh, yes, I see what you're saying. And I get that, and I guess because I've also had to make peace with boxing, because a part of me is like, how can I watch this when I know, because sometimes they die, and there's a feeling like, how can I support this when I know they're fighting each other? But a part of me feels that to get to that level, they're very trained on defense. So I feel that, and it's also their choice. I mean, they want to do it. I guess that's how both of them are the same. No one's forcing them to do it.
Yeah, we are.
Sure, that would be a different story if people were forcing people to box or do the other thing. Then sure, that would be a problem. But it's their choice. And
porn.
I guess for all of it. But yeah, it's
I think it's good that you say nobody is forcing them, because like, if we are saying to someone like, let's fight, and the loser will kill his daughter or son, I'm sure
that would be a different story.
It will be even more exciting, Wesley.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Some part of my brain or some demons are like, yeah, this could. You know, some humans are psycho, that they like to go and hunt humans.
Oh my God. I'm not too shocked, but I will say, just back to the violence aspect, and then we'll get back to the humans hunting humans. But so, for example, in American football, so in American football, about 30 years ago, it was much more violent. It was much more, you could really like nail the quarterback and there was no consequences. Now, look, for example, one of my good friends, he stopped watching American football because they're much more softer. You're not allowed to, of course there's tackling, but it's a lot more safe. I guess they're trying to make it more safe. But I like that they do that. And I like, when I watch UFC or if I watch boxing, I like when the referee stops the fight. I don't mind. Some people get upset that, oh, the ref stopped it too early. I don't mind if the ref believes that there's no chance that the fighter is going to win. Just stop the fight. Just stop the fight. I wish that happened more. That coaches would just, if they know there's no chance that their fighter is going to win, or if they're taking a big, they're taking a lot of punishment, just stop the fight.
I think that's also what Joe Rogan even says, that some teams are not honest with their fighters, like between the rounds.
Yes.
But wait, you know, in the Contender series of Dana White, I was telling you, there were a fighter, he get elbow, his head open, and you could see the veins that the blood goes through.
God.
Just like the white small ones, I don't know even the name in English, and he kept the fight and won. And you know you know DC, he comment in the UFC with Joe Rogan, Daniel.
Right.
He said with Joe Rogan that the other fighter lost because he couldn't handle it anymore. The other guy was like one small punch, and the thing that takes the brain will open all his face up.
Right.
The other fighter couldn't handle all that blood and the pressure, and the other fighter was pressuring him. He beat the other fighter's soul just from how much he goes for it and how much he won it. He wants the contract. He's from Brazil.
That's another argument about maybe that the ref should not stop the fight, because you never know. You never know if somebody could come back. So
the guy is broke, I think, from Brazil. He's like, baby, let me live with the UFC or die. It's better than coming back watching the kids. Like if you are in a situation where you have kids or you cannot afford rent or this, you are like, this is an escape both ways, die or make money. I don't want to come back.
That's true. That's true. And there must be, it's kind of similar to comedy. There must be another aspect to it, because I mean, I can't say for sure, but like for some of these fighters, if they really wanted to, that maybe they could get a job at Taco Bell, or they could get a job at McDonald's. Like they could find some way to make a living, but so boxing and fighting, it is a way to make money. True. But I think what they also want is the glory. And I think because boxing and fighting, it's a little bit like show business, because everybody's watching you. You're the star. And I think that some people, they have that desire in them that they want to be on the stage, and they want to be in the ring. And they can make money doing something else, but they will not be happy unless they take that chance and get into the ring and everything. Because they could probably if it is money, they might be, but I feel like they're doing it for more than just money. They're doing it because there's something in them that wants that. They just have that need to perform in front of a lot of people.
We talked about this before, that you need to have something, you need to have and in order to be in the fight business, it's nice to have that, like to be you and to like to perform, but also it's an escape. If they are not good at school, normal jobs, for me, minimal paid jobs like in Taco Bell or McDonald's, I feel that's like you are stuck, because you are not free with your life. You are not happy. You are working with a bunch of assholes. You have manager who is an asshole. So it's also an escape. All what you said is right, but also a big part of it is when you achieve something, it's an escape for your time, your family, and yeah.
Yeah, I think, yes, absolutely. It's a way, it's an avenue to do something great. And so maybe you have a brother and sister, maybe you have a brother that's a lawyer, or a sister who did well in school. And if somebody, maybe it's a way to show that you're somebody.
Yeah. Wesley, listen, this is amazing.
It was amazing.
I really want to have, and I don't know, I feel like you're like coming here, spending this time with me, like, I don't know, I owe you a lot, and I really wish to meet you one day. And
Yes.
through this podcast, I really consider you as even friend, if that's okay for you.
I feel the same way.
Thank you so much, Wesley, and I hope to see you in the open mics. If you want to say
Yes.
something, it's all.
Oh, it just, I love this. I love this. I feel like we could talk about boxing and fighting all day. And if you ever want to do it again, if there's a big fight, maybe we could put it on the screen and talk about it. I think that's great.
Yeah, let me know also too if you liked any fight or anything, and yeah, let's keep in touch. Thank you so much, Wesley. I wish you all the best, and I just wish everything good will cross your life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You too.
Bye bye.
Bye.